Alright, so I'm going to start off by doing a very quick recap of the Finance Solver. Most of you should have seen this in year 11, so you should be familiar with the functions, but just to do a quick recap of that. I'm going to do a couple of worked examples as well. I'm going to do one from exercise 6.4 to find the future value, and I'm going to do the two worked examples from exercise 6.5, which we would have done in class on Friday. But I'm just doing them now as a video, okay? So in terms of the Finance Solver, just as a quick recap, N is the number of payments, or it's sometimes useful to think of that as the number of time periods in the question. I is the interest rate. I'm using tab to move between these, okay? I is the interest rate. PV is the present value. Now, if it's an investment, that money is going from you to the bank. Okay, we're going to put that in as a negative. Okay, so if it's an investment, we're going to put it in as a negative. If it's a loan, the bank is giving you money, we're going to put that in as a positive. All right. PMT is any regular payments in the question. For the examples that I do today, there is none, but in chapter 7, where we're talking about paying back loans or adding to an annuity, there will be some regular payments involved there. FV is the future value, so it's the balance at whatever given point in time that the question is looking for. Payments per year and compound periods per year, PPY and CPY, they reflect how many compound periods there is in 1 year in the question. So for example, if the question said compounded monthly, they would both read 12. If the question said compounded weekly, they would both read 52. If the question says compounded annually, as my first one does, they're both going to read 1. Okay, and that's always going to read end down there at the bottom. So if I take a look at my first example, I've got $5,000 invested for 4 years at 6.5%, and interest is compounded annually. Okay, now that compounded annually is really important. As soon as you see the word compounded, you know that we're going to have to make some adjustments in the question. We're going to have to bear that in mind. Okay, I'm not going to do part A because that's the rule. We did that in class, and I'm using this as a Finance Solver demo. So I'm going to do part B here, which is find the balance after 4 years. Okay, so find the balance after 4 years. All right. So number of time periods in the question is 4. Okay, compounded annually, so it's just 4 years. The interest rate is 6.5%, 6.5%. The present value, okay, so the present value, so it's a $5,000 investment. Okay, so it's a $5,000 investment, so I'm going to put it in as negative $5,000. Okay, PMT, there's no regular payments in the question. Future value is what I'm looking for, and with the Finance Solver, whatever you're looking for, you leave blank. Okay, so whatever you're looking for, you leave blank. So I'm looking for the future value after 4 years. Payments per year and compound periods per year, it's compounded annually, so that's going to stay as 1. All right, so let's just have a look at what we have. 4 years, 6.5%, $5,000 investment, no regular payments, and I'm looking for the future value. So after 4 years, we've got $6,432.33. So you invested 5,000. You now have $6,432.33. So you've gotten an extra, $1,432. So that's the first example on the Finance Solver, and that's looking for the future. Okay, so next example I'm going to do here is coming from exercise 6.5. It's the second worked example in 6.5. Worked example 9 here, and so how long? That's a key part of the question. Okay, so how long means we're looking for how long, but in terms of the Finance Solver, that means we're looking for N. Okay, so we're looking for the first one, N. We're looking for the number of time periods it will take for $2,000 investment to amount to, so to get to $3,500, 8%, and again the interest is compounded annually. Okay, so when I go back to my Finance Solver here, question says how long, okay? So how long means I'm looking for the number of time periods, the number of payments, which means I'm going to leave that blank, okay? The interest rate was 8%. The present value, okay, so how much are you investing? You're investing $2,000, okay? Now remember, I'm going to put that in as a negative 2,000, okay? Because it's an investment, the money's going from me to the bank. PMT is 0 because there's no regular payments in this question. Future value we know this time, okay? In the last example we were looking for the future value. This time we know what the future value is. The question says we want to get to $3,500. Okay, we're trying to get to $3,500. It's compounded annually, so they both read 1, and that says end. Okay, so let's just recap what we have here. $2,000 investment, 8% per annum, and we want to get to $3,500, and we're trying to figure out how long. Okay, so we're looking for n. So how long is it going to take? It's going to take 7.27 years. Okay, so 7.27 years. So depending on whether the question said, you know, round to 2 significant figures or whatever it happens to be. So 7.27 years. Alright, next example I'm going to do, it's the worked example 8, so it's the first worked example that comes in exercise 6.5. This guy here, okay, so find the interest rate, okay, so again, key part of the question, find the interest rate, which means in terms of my finance solver, I'm going to leave I blank, okay, that's what I'm looking for. We'll leave I blank because I'm looking to find the interest rate. So find the interest per annum, per year. Correct the 2 decimal places that would enable an investment, so another keyword, investment, of $3,000 to grow to $4,000 over a time period of 2 years, and crucially it says compounded quarterly. Okay, so compounded quarterly. Now that's going to have an effect on our finance solver, alright, because when we put in n, when we put in our number of time periods, yes, we're talking about 2 years, but it's compounded quarterly. Okay, so 2 years compounded quarterly. So back to my finance solver. Alright, ends the number of time periods, alright, and it's 2 years, but it's compounded quarterly, so times it by 4. So how many quarters, how many financial quarters is there in 2 years? 8. Okay, so times it by 4. The interest rate is what we're looking for. It says find the interest rate. Okay, the present value, how much of an investment is it? It's an investment of $3,000. Okay, so negative $3,000 because the money's going from you to the bank. There's no regular payments in this question. The future value, what do we want to get to? We want to get to $4,000. Okay, so we want to get to $4,000. Alright, and then down here, another crucial change, because the question says compounded quarterly. How many quarters is there in a year? We've got 4 quarters in a year. Okay, so 2 major changes that have happened there because of the fact that it says compounded quarterly. I was talking about 2 years. Compounded quarterly becomes 8. Okay, so 8 quarters. And then down here, the payments per year and the compound periods per year reflect how many compound periods there is in 1 year. So compounded quarterly, so that's going to read 4. Alright, back up to my interest rate. So what interest rate would enable me to get from $3,000 to $4,000 in the space of 2 years? I would need an interest rate of, let's call it 14.65%. Okay, so if we said, if it was 2 decimal places, 14.65%. Alright, so that's 3 worked examples. So you've got the first worked example, which was to find the future value. The second worked example was how long, so you're looking for n. And then the last worked example, the one that I've just done there, was looking for I, find the interest rate. Okay, now with the questions from exercise 6.5, I'd like you to do them on the finance solver. Okay, so we need a lot of practice on the finance solver over the next couple of weeks. So go and try all of the questions in exercise 6.5 and try them all on the finance solver. Okay.